For those of you that be embarking on the first interview, oh how exciting! What should you be expecting?
Interview technique. Very importantly, be prepared. People like to talk about themselves, and as much as an interviewer wants to find out as much about the candidate and what their skills are and what they're looking to do, I think it helps if the candidate, the person being interviewed, has a lot of information and knowledge about the company that they're potentially looking to work for. So, in other words, I would say the best interview technique is to go with loads of questions about the actual organisation that you're looking to work for. It's almost like flipping the interview, so you're almost the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. And I think as somebody being interviewed, that sometimes I think makes people think, yeah, they're actually really thinking about, they've really considered that this is the type of organisation they want to work for, and that's why they've done the amount of research.
So you've heard about the kind of work done in the financial sector, but given our half-an-hour remit, we'll only be looking at a handful of those roles, starting off with a career in accountancy.
Accountancy is a title that covers a broad range of roles within industry, and the type of job you will be doing will depend on the role that you take. Some of those roles could be more on a transactional basis, of processing transactions in a finance team, but it could be a more wider role where it's more of an advisory role to businesses as how they carry out their business, or it could be a specific role such as accounting, auditing, forensic accounting, or corporate reporting.
Now when we hear accountant, the first thing that usually comes to mind is the image of a dingy office with dull people huddled over carrier bags full of receipts and tapping frenziedly on calculators with little spools of paper in them. You know exactly what I mean. Yet, as of 2007, the UK's 6 chartered accountancy bodies counted more than 270,000 members and nearly 160,000 students in Britain and the Republic of Ireland. So it can't all be adding machines spewing out ticker tape and sore fingers, can it? Let's have a look at how the old stereotypes are changing as we ask, why be an accountant? And what's the best thing about the job?
The accountancy profession is usually misconceived as a boring profession. You know, you're only looking at numbers, you're only playing with your calculators or staring at laptops, digesting figures. But it's not like that on a day-to-day basis. There are things that you do that are routine, but as you gain experience, as you gain in knowledge, as you expose yourself to more and more different environments, what you find is that there are challenges on an almost weekly or daily basis even, simply because you deal with so many different people. And if you're one of those persons that enjoy challenges, then this profession will provide it.
The primary reason, I think, for going into accountancy is that it opens all sorts of doors in all sorts of areas later in life. Yes, training to be accountant, you need to take exams for 3 years, and then you can put the magic initials ACA after your name. But if you look at who are the CEOs of most of the UK's top 100 companies, they're chartered accountants. Chartered accountants are now out there running the country. So that is a very, very good reason. You learn skills which you can apply in all sorts of areas. You don't have to then go out and do accountancy. There's plenty of accountancy who are running media companies, film companies, who are in the Houses of Parliament, in the Treasury. It is a good grounding for all sorts of opportunities later in life.
Why be an accountant? I suppose if you kind of like finance type of things but you want a slightly better work-life balance, then I would choose accountancy over banking. It's also, if you like not being stuck in an office but still sort of have more regular hours and not sort of have an outdoor kind of job, again, accountancy fits that. You also get to meet a lot of people, so if you enjoy sort of communicating and doing things like that, again, accountancy is brilliant for that kind of thing.
The best thing so far I've enjoyed about my accountancy career is the people I've met, both within the firm and the clients. I've only been in it for 10 months, but I've had a really good time so far. I quite enjoy the social aspect of it as well. We do quite a few social things, which is good. One of the things I didn't expect was the diversity of it, really. It's always changing. It's never the same thing day to day. One week I'm studying at college, and then the next week I'm at clients, and I'm back in the office, and so that's one of the things I really enjoy about it, actually, the diversity of it.
Skills of an accountant are transferable to any other role. People with good financial literacy and good financial knowledge are valued in any role they play within an organisation.
Now you're going to have to do better than a fancy calculator to cut it as an accountant. You'll also need some qualifications too. So what are they?
The level of qualification that you need does depend on the role that you want to carry out. There are many people within a finance function that don't have a formal qualification. They have an aptitude and a skill for what they're trying to do. However, some of the more senior posts clearly would expect a formal qualification. And there are different routes to take, ranging from apprenticeships through to one of the professional qualifications by an institute.
And it's split into the knowledge module and the application module. Once you've passed the professional stage, you then move on to the advanced stage, which includes 3 papers. Now, embedded within the whole structure is, I suppose, teaching and guidance on professional ethics. And professional integrity is very, very important in our profession.
The advice I would give to anyone who's starting the ACA or just sort of in the middle of it is obviously work hard. You have to put in a lot of effort and a lot of time has to be put in the study process. I think it's worth sort of asking anyone that you know who's done it in the past for any tips that they can give you, or maybe copies of their notes, just as a sort of booster to what you have. But I think overall it's just down to you as the individuals. But if you put the time in and the effort in, then you will succeed.
Getting into financial services, there's lots of opportunities for people with all sorts of qualification levels and skill levels too, as there's a wide variety of jobs. One of the key things is, first of all, to research what financial services is about. Employers like it if potential candidates can go to them and have an understanding of what the sector does, and also what that individual company does as well. Show enthusiasm and dedication by doing some background research. We'd also recommend getting some experience, and that hasn't got to be in the sector. It's having experience of the world of work and understanding how the world of work works. We'll get some right and relevant qualifications too. Maths and English are important, and having some basic qualifications in those is very important to the sector. And then looking at what specific qualifications could support you in getting on in your career too. It could be professional and regulatory qualifications that are very important to your employer and the role that you do.
So that's what the job's like and the certificates you need to hang out on the wall and get ahead in the business. Is there any advice our qualified accountants and graduates have for people looking to embark on a career in accountancy?
The first thing I look for is somebody who's enthusiastic and passionate. Somebody who can demonstrate that keenness to get into the profession, learn what it is within that profession that excites somebody who is already in the profession. So ask the questions, ask relevant questions, don't ask bombastic type questions, general type questions which only George Soros or Alan Greenspan can answer. Ask relevant questions which are pertinent to your own situation. To get a better insight into what you're committing yourself into.
Well, at the moment, from my perspective, you've got to be willing to learn. You've got to be fairly eager. I'm constantly working for different partners and different people, and you've got to want to show your ability to them so they'll give you more jobs.
Being a good accountant is being a good communicator. Yes, you've got to understand accounts. You've got to be numerate. You've got to find your way around a balance sheet. But it's more interpreting the law nowadays than just adding up numbers. Computers add up numbers for us. It's about being able to communicate issues with clients, finding out what their problems are and solving them for them in a cost-effective way. It's all about communication and interpersonal skills. If you've got those, you can be a good accountant. If you haven't, I'm sorry to say, you can't, or not with Barnes-Rowe anyway.
In order to succeed in the profession, I would say, one, you need to be dedicated. It is hard work, especially the study side. It's a lot harder than I anticipated, and I studied accountancy at university. It's also, you need to be good at time management.